All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar. The headlines. Campaigning for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat gains momentum. Army Commanders Conference set to begin today in New Delhi. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on a 2-day visit to Russia today. India to participate in World Travel Market beginning today at London. UN Climate Conference begins in Egypt. Loss and damage funding introduced into agenda. And Shiv Thapa secures historic 6th medal in Asian Elite Boxing Championships. And now the news in detail. In Himachal Pradesh, star campaigners and prominent leaders of various political parties are engaged in public meetings and door-to-door visits. BJP National President JP Nadda will address public meetings in various assembly segments of Shimla district today. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur will address a public meeting in different assembly constituencies of Kangra, Chamba and Hamirpur districts. AICC General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will address Parivartan Pratigya rally at Haroli in Una district. Our correspondent reports that both national parties are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters in their favour.
With barely 3 days left, campaigning top leaders of both BJP and Congress are trying to get voters to vote in their favour by cornering each other on various issues. BJP senior leader and Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said it has been 8 years for the government at the centre, but there is no allegation against the government on corruption and nepotism. Similarly, the tenure of 5 years is being completed in Himachal, but not a single charge is on the government. Taking a jab at the Congress, Jairam Thakur said that the way of working of the Congress is to get personal gain from everything. On the other hand, Janata Dal United National General Secretary K.C. Tyagi said in a press conference in Shimla yesterday that he has come to Himachal to support the Congress. He said the victory of Congress in Himachal would serve as the foundation stone for the Lok Sabha elections to be held in 2024. Sanjeev Sundariyal, AIR News, Shimla.
In Gujarat, all major political parties began campaigning for the first phase of assembly polls. The voting for the first phase will be held for 89 constituencies on 1st of December. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the campaigning for the ruling BJP from Kaprada in Valsad district yesterday with a new slogan, "Aa Gujarat Main Banavyo Chhe," meaning, "We have made this Gujarat." The slogan credits the resilience and dedication of people of Gujarat in the development of the state. In his address, Mr. Modi said, Gujarat has achieved new heights of development in every sector in the past 2 decades, and each Gujarati has contributed towards it.
આપણે ગુજરાતના લોકો એવા છીએ કે જે ખભે ખભો મિલાવીને સાથે રહીને સંપૂર્ણ ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ કરીએ, સમાજનો વિકાસ કરીએ, એવો આપણા માટે અવસર છે અને એમાં આપણે ક્યારે પાછી પાણી નથી કરતા.
The state BJP President C.R. Patil will launch this new campaign at Gandhinagar today. The Congress party will hold the Parivartan Sankalp Yatra today at various assembly constituencies in the state. Sitting MLA Imran Khedawala will address a public meet in Ahmedabad. Aam Aadmi Party National Convener Arvind Kejriwal and Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann are also scheduled to hold road shows in different constituencies of Rajkot and Chota Udaipur districts today. The Army Commanders Conference set to begin in New Delhi today to brainstorm on current and emerging security and chart the future course for the Indian Army. The 5-day conference is a formal forum for the senior leadership of the Indian Army to interact with the senior officials of the Department of Military Affairs and Department of Defence. During the conference, talks by eminent subject experts on contemporary India-China relations as well as technological challenges for national security are also scheduled. Our correspondent reports that the Chief of Defence Staff, Chiefs of the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force are also scheduled to address the senior leadership of the Indian Army on avenues for promoting tri-service synergy. More from our correspondent.
The Army Commanders Conference is an institutional platform for conceptual level deliberations, culminating in making important policy decisions for the Indian Army. During the conference, discussions pertaining to transformational imperatives for a future-ready force and progress on capability development and modernization will be taken up. Besides, framework for enhanced operational effectiveness, promoting Atmanirbharta, and future challenges to progressive military training will also be part of the deliberations. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh will address and interact with the Army commanders on Thursday. With Dipendra Kumar, Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, has stressed that the media, which is considered as the fourth pillar of democracy, must relay accurate factual news to people. Speaking at the launch of a new Kannada news channel in Bengaluru, the minister said that the government that believes in the freedom of speech of media channels has introduced a three-tier mechanism to self-regulate their contents. He, however, said that the government has initiated action against different social media handles that were spreading false news against our national interests and defense forces.
Fake news is a concern. Our government has taken a strong action to curb this menace by blocking YouTube and other digital media channels, those who spread false news, misinformation against the nation, friendly countries. So we've blocked nearly 200 YouTube channels, Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, those who spread false news.
Speaking about Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav programs in Doordarshan, the minister said that the public broadcaster has relayed 75 episodes on unsung heroes of freedom struggle. National Cancer Awareness Day is being observed today. This day is observed annually to highlight the significance and promote awareness about the diagnosis, treatment, and early detection of the disease. According to the World Health Organization, cancer is one of the leading causes of deaths worldwide. In India, nearly 1.1 million new cases of cancer are being reported annually. National Cancer Awareness Day is observed on 7th of November for the last 8 years, coinciding with the birth anniversary of the Nobel Prize-winning scientist, Madame Curie. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will begin his two-day Russia visit today to hold talks with the country's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in continuation of the regular high-level dialogue between the two sides. Talks between the two sides are expected to cover the entire range of bilateral issues and exchange views on various regional and international developments. Dr. Jaishankar is scheduled to meet Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation and Minister of Trade and Industry, Denis Manturov, his counterpart for the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation. Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan today reached Sao Paulo on a two-day visit to Brazil. This is the first high-level visit to the country since the conclusion of the country's presidential election last week. The minister will attend the solemn session on 75 years of India's independence tomorrow, which will be held in the Brazilian parliament. India will participate in the World Travel Market 2022 in London today, which is one of the largest international travel exhibitions. The theme of this year's exhibition is "The Future of Travel Starts Now." Tourism Ministry said India is participating in the World Travel Market 2022 to showcase itself as a preferred destination for tourism. During the three-day exhibition, a total of 16 stakeholders, including from state governments, central ministries, tour operators, among others, are participating as co-exhibitors in the India Pavilion. The 27th session of the Conference of the Parties, COP27, of the United Nations Climate Change Conference began in Egypt yesterday. The UN's annual Climate Change Summit opened with hosts Egypt calling upon countries to move from pledges to an era of implementation. More than 120 world leaders are scheduled to address the summit at Sharm el-Sheikh. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupendra Yadav is leading the Indian delegation at the conference. The minister yesterday inaugurated the India Pavilion. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Yadav said, India's pavilion has been designed with the theme of life, that is, lifestyle for environment. The pavilion will stand out the message of life through various audiovisuals, logo and 3D models. For the first time since the adoption of the UN Climate Convention, parties have agreed to introduce loss and damage funding as an agenda item at the climate conference. UN Climate Conference COP27 President Sameh Chokri commended the sense of responsibility and commitment that parties showed, as well as the collective keenness on preserving the credibility and relevance of the climate process. In his remarks, Mr. Chokri called on the countries to show faith in multilateralism over the next 2 weeks as they negotiate to deliver on the goals of the Climate Convention and the Paris Agreement. Loss and damage funding refers to financial compensation that directly addresses unavoidable climate change catastrophes that developing countries are particularly vulnerable to. Twitter will permanently suspend any Twitter handles engaging in impersonation without clearly specifying parody. This was stated by Elon Musk in a series of tweets today, just days after he took over the social media platform. He also said any name change at all will cause temporary loss of verified checkmark, and there will be no warning before suspension. This will be clearly identified as a condition for signing up to the Twitter Blue. He further added that widespread verification will democratize journalism and empower the voice of the people. He said that Twitter needs to become by far the most accurate source of information around the world. On to sports news in boxing. 5-time Asian Championships medalist Shiv Thapa added a historic 6th Asian Championships medal to his belt with a commanding victory and joined Mohammad Hasmuddin and Govind Kumar Sahni in the semi-finals at the 2022 ASBC Asian Elite Boxing Championships in Amman, Jordan. Thapa in the 63.5 kg category was contesting the quarterfinals against Min Soo Choi of South Korea. The match ended in a 4-1 victory for Thapa, who now becomes the most successful male boxer in the Asian Championships with 6 competition medals to his name. India beat Spain 3-1 on penalties after the match ended 2-2 in normal time in the Hockey Pro League at the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar yesterday evening. Captain Harmanpreet Singh scored twice to give India a 2-0 lead before Spain struck back twice to take the match into a penalty shootout. Krishan Pathak, who had an amazing game, continued his form into the penalties as he pulled off 3 saves, while all of Harmanpreet, Abhishek and Rajkumar scored. With this result, India climbed to the top of the table with 10 points from 4 matches. In cricket, the lineup for the semi-finals of Men's T20 World Cup has been confirmed after a gripping group stage came to an end. India will face England in the second semi-final on the 10th of November at Adelaide. After New Zealand take on Pakistan in the first semi-final on 9th of November at Sydney, the winners of the 2 semi-finals will face in the Summit Clash on 13th of November in Melbourne. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Sarabjit Kaur.
Thank you, Anuja. With improvement in the air quality index in the national capital, Hindustan Times writes, Stage 4 curbs lifted as pollution eases slightly. The paper adds, key state government meet today to decide on reopening primary schools. The Times of India writes, in run-up to Gujarat election, BJP wins key by polls in Bihar, Haryana, UP, Odisha. The Indian Express notes, first time compensating poor nations for climate disasters on the table. A headline in the Pioneer says, Tirupati temple richer than Wipro, Nestle, ONGC. The Economic Times refers about Arunachal police officers being trained in Mandarin to provide holistic security and strategic education for overall national security. And finally, all newspapers have written about the packed Melbourne cricket ground witnessing an Indian triumph on Sunday. The Hindu writes, Surya's brilliance shines through as India hands Zimbabwe a thrashing will face England in semi-finals.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Campaigning for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat gains momentum. Army Commanders Conference set to begin today in New Delhi. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on a 2-day visit to Russia today. India to participate in World Travel Market beginning today at London. UN Climate Conference begins in Egypt. Loss and damage funding introduced into agenda. And Shiv Thapa secures historic 6th medal in Asian Elite Boxing Championships. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.